guys, it's Chris. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a Let's Talk, and I had done this in the car before, and I was not happy with it. Let's just say it was like a little too personal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about it here. And what I want to talk about with you guys today is kids with ADHD. Now, this is what I'm dealing with is my son Dante has ADHD. And this is more of like a need your help kind of video, because this is hard. I've been struggling since he was in 4th grade and struggling to get help for him, struggling to get the resources that he needs. And my son has ADHD, but he doesn't have behaviors. So he doesn't act out, that kind of stuff. And so I really feel like he's sort of left on the back burner, if that makes sense. It's just so annoying to me. It really seems that kids who act out and kids who are disruptive in class, they get all the resources, they get all the help, and yeah, it's aggravating to me. My son struggles, and most of his struggles are organizational. He's super forgetful. Like, if you tell him one thing and then tell him something else, like, you have to tell him one thing and let him complete that task before you move on to something else. So I'm having a problem with getting him help. And yes, he has had an IEP done. He was in therapy. I have to find him another therapist. But I need your guys' help as far as, like, post below as far as school systems go. What is the best route to go in order to route, however you say it, as far as getting your kid help? Because, like I said, I feel like he's being left in the dust. I know in middle school, he was absolutely left in the dust, and it really aggravated me because, like I said, he didn't have behaviors. So, it's almost like because he's not disruptive, they don't take his ADHD seriously, and it was really super duper aggravating. But his grades suffer, he suffers, and it's just, I don't know what to do. I know last year they took him out of, like, their solution. I had said, my son needs help, help me. And their solution basically was, we'll take him out of chorus and we'll put him in a special math class. And I was like, okay, that doesn't help him with the rest of his, because math is one of his weaker subjects, but it's like that doesn't help him with the rest of his stuff. Okay, so like I was saying, I was having trouble with him getting, like, lost in the system because he doesn't have behaviors. And so I do have to find him another therapist. I do have to try to get him on different meds, that kind of stuff. But I don't know. This is just sort of like a help me video. Help me! I just want to know your thoughts on the school systems and dealing with children who have ADHD. Now that he's in high school, there's not as much that I can do for him. Like, he really kind of has to start doing for himself. And I've explained that to him. But as, per usual or whatever, with kids with ADHD, it's really hard. Like, he struggles, he tries really hard, but he just can't seem to remember things. He can't seem to remember to even write stuff in his planner. So again, like, that goes to, if he can't remember to write in his planner, he's not going to remember to do the homework, that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't really know. I had talked like 15 minutes about this, and I don't really know how to talk 15 minutes about it without getting really personal into his business, and I don't really want to get personal into his business. I just have a problem. The way I feel is if a child has ADHD or any other sort of, developmental disability or whatever they call it, they really need to treat each kid the same way across the board. I was speaking to a mother whose child is in Dante's class, went to the same school with Dante in grade school, middle school, grade school and middle school, and her son is getting so much more help than my son is, and I'm not really sure why. Her son, his ADHD is more the typical, I guess you would say. I don't know if anything like this is typical or not typical, but it's more of the typical ADHD kind of thing, as far as, you know, he does have behaviors and that kind of stuff, and Dante doesn't. So I just feel like because my son is not acting out, he's not getting the help that he needs. And I really think that's unfair. I think it should be the same way across the board. I don't know what to do. And this is going to be a short video because it's really more of me speaking to you guys that I need your help. My son has had an IEP. I know that I do need to go to his, I'm just really feeling like my next step is to get his medical records and to go to the superintendent of schools, because it seems like no matter what I do, they put him off. They put him off. They put me off. It's like, you know, well, okay, we'll take him out of this and put him in this special, like, math class. Okay, but what about the rest of his classes? Like, he has general issues, like, with everything. It's not just, you know, math or science or whatever. It all suffers because his organizational skills, he doesn't have any. He can't remember to write stuff in his planner. He can't remember to do homework. If he does it, he can't remember to pass it in. And it's very frustrating because this is kind of like new to me. It's new to me and it's not new to me. In fourth grade, I said this kid has ADHD. There's something not right. And at that point, there was a lot of spacing out, a lot of staring out the window, a lot of, like, you would talk to him and, like, he would just stare at you, like, you'd ask him a question, like a simple question, like you could say, like, what's your name? And he would, like, sit and you could see the wheels turning, and it was almost like, well, like, what's the right answer? What am I supposed to say? And, you know, it's not so much that anymore now that he's gotten older, but the organization and stuff like that. I recently found a book at Barnes & Noble, and it's upstairs in his room, so I don't have it with me, but it's a workbook. And I know I used one when I had a panic and anxiety course that I did called, what was it called? Attacking Anxiety, and it was these tapes, and you did like meditation, and you did like breathing exercises, but there was a workbook to go along with it. And I found that so helpful. For 9 years, I had no panic. No, I just woke up one day and it was gone. Like, it was crazy. And so I bought him a similar workbook, and I was like, wow, you know, like, and it's cool because it has these little exercises where it's teaching you things and it's making you think, but you don't realize it. Like, it's pretty crazy. And we went through the book, and he was so funny. I mean, you guys have met Dante, obviously, through my Loot Crate videos and stuff like that. And he's such a wonderful kid, and he is frustrated too because he's so, as with most kids with ADHD and other learning disabilities, they're so smart. But it's just getting that across onto paper, or, you know, passing in the work that they do and all this other stuff, and paying attention and all this stuff, that all hinders it. So I bought him this workbook, and as I was reading to him, you know, the back of it or whatever, he's like, wow, I think this is the Dante workbook. He goes, this should be called the Dante workbook. And it was funny because it's like, oh, do you procrastinate? Do you have trouble with organization? Do you forget things? Do you, and of course they put a name on that. I forget what it was, like, I don't know. Or I'm going to say organizational disorder. Like, they label everything nowadays. But, so we've been working on that. Like I said, I have to get him back into therapy. He was with a therapist. We're no longer with that person. So he's not taking his medication. And the main reason he's not taking his medication is because there's not behaviors. I need to find a medication that helps him focus, but it's not like he doesn't, like I said, he doesn't have a lot of behaviors, so that's not really an issue. Like, he doesn't take it during the summer when there's no school because there's no reason to. Does he still forget things at home? Yes, but I mean, it's not really anything that we can't deal with. So I'm going to be calling his guidance counselor and see. The thing that pissed me off, I'm just going to be honest, like, the thing that pissed me off is this other child, since 4th grade or whenever, I don't know since when, but has gotten help. And I really do believe it's because he acts out and he's disruptive. And so the teachers don't want to deal with it, so he gets help. Because my child doesn't, he doesn't get help. And it's so frustrating because they approach me and they approach him like any other student, and he's not any other student. Like, you know, and the other thing is too, is how do you deal with people? Again, this sort of goes back to my invisible illnesses video, because this is sort of ADHD sort of is like, if you don't have the behaviors, then it sort of is invisible. Like, he knows that he's different. He knows, and he's frustrated, you know? I mean, before we saw a therapist, he was like, he would cry and just be like, what's wrong with me? Like, he knows things seem like common sense. Like, we would talk to him about stuff, and he would get so upset because when you talk to him, it's like, well, duh, like, yeah, that makes sense. But then when putting it into action is harder. Like, it's not that simple. It's not cut and dry. We'll just do it. Okay, well, if we could, we would, and we wouldn't have this issue, right? So I guess what pisses me off about it is that because it's invisible and, you know, people don't get it. Again, people just don't understand it. And most of this I've had to deal with by myself. His father just won't even deal with it. I mean, as far as the medication, I can't even send medication over there because he doesn't tell him to take it. It's his responsibility. If he's not going to take it, he's not going to take it. No, he needs to be reminded to take it. That's part of this. That's part of this. And, you know, it just can't be bothered. So, you know, so that's kind of why the medication, even if it was on it, would it really work? We split time. So half the time he'd be taking it, half the time he wouldn't. You know, you can't really do that with medication. But the second thing is that a lot of people just like chalk it up to laziness. He's just lazy. Now, is he lazy? Of course he is. He's a 14-year-old boy. Yes, they're lazy. I'm not denying that. But I'm the kind of person that if I have not experienced it or I don't know specifically the answer, I'll keep my mouth shut. I don't speak just to speak. And there's been people, I feel the teachers are kind of this way, and there's been people in my family. It's like, you know what? He's just got to grow up. He's got to grow up. Suck it up. He's got to grow up. He's just lazy. All this other stuff. I'm like, really? You know, like, yeah, it really drives me crazy because you know, if it was that simple, it would be fixed. Like, it's not that simple. You know, I've had people say, well, I don't remember anything, and so I write it down in my calendar, or I do this, or I do that. Well, yeah, that's great. That works for you, but a child with ADHD, their brain is different. It doesn't work that way. So anyway, it's just super hard. Do you guys have, like, do your spouses or family members, if you have a child with ADHD, do you deal with that? Do you deal with the fact that, like, they just basically say, oh, you're just pulling the ADHD card. You're just pulling the card. You know what? And I just feel it's not a card. If it's a real thing, it's not a card. Like, I'm not pulling anything. This is a real thing. And it just drives me crazy. I have to advocate for my son because nobody else will. He doesn't have another parent that will. Have I, up until this point, babied him? Absolutely. I have felt the need that I had to in order for my son to get the help that he needs. Did it work? He passed the 8th grade, you know, but the amount of frustration and work that I put in, emailing teachers every single night, you know, 4 hours of homework and 4 hours of, like, you know, tracking down work and that kind of stuff. No, I mean, that didn't work. It didn't work for me. I can't do that all the time, and nor should I now that he's in high school. There does come a point, and I understand that, where you have to, you know, give them the reins and say, okay, you have to be responsible. But I guess my problem lies in that I just need help. I need help. I need help understanding. I need help advocating. I'm still getting used to this myself. I'm still trying to understand all the nuances of it. And I know I never will, because, you know, especially at this age, adolescence, you know, preteens, teens, like, there's so much more involved. So that make it, is it the ADHD? Is it just being a teenager? You know, I mean, and nobody's going to really have that answer. But I just want to know, number one, if any of you have, you know, children with ADHD, how do you deal with it? Number one, especially in the school system. Have any of you been, like, basically put off? Like, just been like, you know, people are like, oh, well, you know, we'll just do this. Not a big deal. No, okay, that doesn't help. That's not working. That it is a big deal. Number one, is your child not getting the help that they need? And what did you do to rectify that situation? Like I said, this is going to be more of a please help me video. And number two, dealing with family members, loved ones, friends, whatever, that just don't get it and just want to chalk it up to laziness or chalk it up to, again, it's not. And I just feel so passionate. I don't want to go on a huge rant about this, but I mean, that would be like calling my depression laziness. It's not laziness. It just drives me insane. And I just go nuts. I go nuts. I'm not going to lie. But if any of you guys have any answers for me, please post them down below, those 3 questions. I would love to hear from you. This is going to be a quick let's talk today, just because, like I said, I don't really know what to say. Like, I'm really at a loss for words. And that never happens to me, obviously. If you guys watch my videos, I just don't know what to say. If anybody has any information they can give me below, stuff that has worked for you. Have you gone through this situation before with the schools? Have you gone through this situation with family members? And what do you do? I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of not fighting for my son, but fighting with others. Like, I'm just tired of it. I just so my son can get help. Like, I don't see, we should all be on the same page. Like, and I don't get it, why we're not. I don't know. It's hard. But anyway, guys, please post down below, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Well, no, because it's not really an enjoyable video, but this topic, and I really need your help, so please help me. Comment down below. You guys know I give all of myself to you, and I really value your opinion and your help. And if there's any teachers out there that can help me, any, you know, professionals in this, you know, with children and whatever, post down below, or just your experiences and what worked for you if you went through it. I appreciate it. Love you guys.